Well, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We wanted to do a short video update this morning on Tropical Storm Matthew. Overnight, Matthew did strengthen a little bit. Winds are up to 70 miles per hour, and we'll show you some of the latest data from the hurricane hunters here in just a moment. And data from the current mission is indicating Matthew may even be approaching hurricane intensity. But the system is moving off towards the west. We do expect it to possibly bend a little more towards the west southwest over the next couple of days. The National Hurricane Center currently forecasts Matthew to become a hurricane by tomorrow morning, during the overnight hours tonight. But I do see there's a high chance, based on the latest data, that Matthew could strengthen a little bit more and we could have a hurricane before the day's over. As we get into this weekend, the system will be turning more towards the northwest as it begins to feel a weakness in the atmosphere to its north. And it's likely to also be strengthening into a Category 2 or maybe even Category 3 hurricane as well as we get into late this weekend and into early next week. The National Hurricane Center's cone currently extends from central Cuba all the way over to the Haiti Dominican Republic border. And we're very concerned that unfortunately someone in this region, could be Jamaica, could be Eastern Cuba, could even be Haiti, could possibly see impacts from a strong hurricane early next week. This is still a 5-day forecast. The center could go a little farther more towards the west, especially if it stays a relatively weak storm, or it weakens a little bit. There is some southwesterly wind shear, which we'll show you in the next couple moments. But if the storm goes a little more towards the west, it could track up the western side of the cone. Or if the system is becomes stronger than what's forecast, it is possible it could turn more towards the north on the right side of the cone. So there's still a lot of uncertainty as to when that turn is going to occur. If we look at the latest satellite loop here from the infrared panels, you can see the system, while it appears to be healthy, it is battling some southwesterly wind shear, and the area of low pressure, the low level center, is partially exposed. The main area of deeper showers and thunderstorms is located to the northeast of the center. So it's likely going to have a hard time strengthening much above 70, 75 miles per hour today. But here's a look at the latest wind shear map. We do have an upper level anticyclone located over northern South America, and the winds around that are bringing some southwesterly wind shear. Right now we have wind shear of about 20 knots or so located over the center of Matthew, but out in front of the storm we do have an area of stronger wind shear, but this is moving west with the storm. So the wind shear is going to be around over the next 2 to 3 days. We're going to have to see how that impacts the strength of the storm, and if the wind shear, helps the storm stay relatively weak, it could get a little bit farther west than what's forecast, and of course that could have major implications for the track downstream. So just something we'll be watching in the short term here over the next few days. The hurricane hunters are currently flying a mission into the storm, and a couple things I want to point out here. You can see the purple wind barbs. These would be surface winds, generally over 65, 70 miles per hour, and some of the readings here have come back around 76 miles per hour at flight level. So there's no doubt that the surface winds are approaching hurricane status, and they very well may get there today. But another note is the most recent past, the pressure has actually risen 1 millibar to 997. So the system, while it was intensifying in terms of pressure a little bit overnight, it has come back up. And again, we're going to have to see if pressure continues to rise as the wind shear continues to have effects on the system. So a lot of you are still wondering what's going to happen long term, and the honest answer is once the system gets to about here, there's a very large spread in the models. You can't see it here, but some of the ensemble members of the European models still take the system closer to Florida, maybe even into the Western Gulf. We have models like the UK Met, which is the farthest to the right, showing the northerly turn happening the quickest. and it's definitely on the eastern side of the consensus envelope here. Now these are the 12Z models, spaghetti model tracks, so they are the most recent. But when you're looking at these, I want you to really look at the average. So if we look at the average, that's going to be somewhere here just east of Jamaica, over eastern Cuba, and up into the central Bahamas. Now, this is still a 4 to 5 day forecast. This average could shift to the west, or it could even shift to the east as we get more model data coming in this afternoon and over the next couple of days. So right now, we still can't fully rule out the storm going into the Gulf of Mexico or over to Florida. Now, the chances of the system going to the Gulf of Mexico have decreased just a little bit versus yesterday. And I want to show you this map here. This is courtesy of Weatherbell. This is a European ensemble run. And basically what this means, each circle here is a different model, a different ensemble model of the European guidance. And there's 50 of these. And what you want to look for is, are we seeing consensus? Are they tightly bundled and clustered together, or are they spread apart? So yesterday, on the 12Z run, yesterday afternoon, you can see here, we had a pretty good cluster here in the northwestern Caribbean Sea. And now I'm going to look at the latest run from the overnight model, and you can see they become a little more clustered. And if you look closely, the average, many of them actually shifted to the east just a little bit. Let me show you that again. So that was yesterday. Again, this is at the 5 day mark, and this is the most recent run. They've shifted a little more towards the left. Now, if you go farther out in time, let's say 8 days, yesterday, actually, let me go to 10 days, a little better picture here. At day 10 yesterday, maybe half or even a little more than half had this system in the Gulf of Mexico. Now I'm going to show you the latest run of the European ensemble from overnight, and watch how a good majority of them has shifted towards the east. See that? Instead of a lot of them being located out here, a lot of them are located near Florida or just to the east, and we have many more that are agreeing with the GFS ensemble suite on a track offshore once it passes the Bahamas. So seeing this, I want to see another run or two, but this does make me feel a little bit better that the chances are lowering that this could get into the Gulf of Mexico. And again, the final track is going to depend on the speed of the storm. Does it weaken? Does it strengthen? And we also have a high pressure ridge to the north east of the storm, which is driving the storm towards the west. So does this break down a little quicker than forecasted, or does it hold tough and push it a little more towards the west or the northwest? So sorry for the crummy graphics there, but anyone really from the eastern Gulf of Mexico through the northwestern Caribbean, Florida, all the way up the East Coast, still continue to pay attention, and hopefully in the next few days we'll get a little more clarity from the model guidance as to what the future holds for Tropical Storm and future Hurricane Matthew. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, everybody.